What's up YouTube, Dell here from Zephyr, and today I'm going to be bringing you a competitive updated profile for Gem Knights. That's right, so this is Gem Knight Breaker. What I mean by Gem Knight Breaker is where you will see non-engine slots rather than utilising them for particular hand traps. I've actually gone out full-on breakers. All the cards are there designed to go second and break your opponent's field. There are some contingency plans in here if you do get forced to go second before you can enter the side deck to give you a bit of an idea of how this deck works. I think this deck is incredibly fun right now. It's very much an underdog deck. A lot of people still don't know exactly how the deck can play, but it's very, very resourceful because it is very, very resilient as well by trading 1-for-1 every single time and then being able to use loads of these one-card combos that can pretty much push you into the Master Diamond for that OTK sweep. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. For the lineup of your starters, we're going to be going for free Gem Knight Nephirim. Now, this is your best starter of the two, just because you have more ways of utilising it. Your ideal, use up your normal summon starter will be your Gem Armadillo, but you can see that we're only really playing two. You can play 3 if you want to, but the biggest difference and the biggest issue with the Gem Armadillo is that it's not a Gem Knight monster. If it was like Gem Knight Armadillo, happy days. But unfortunately it's not, which does have some clashes with some of your cards, because a lot of your cards will say add a Gem Knight from X or Y back to the hand. That being said, Nephirim has the ability to summon itself back from the graveyard if it is sent from the deck or the hand to the graveyard. So that's where you get a little bit more utility, and it's also why I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. They are playing the one Foolish Burial, because technically Foolish Burial, Nephirim, as long as you've got the card to send, you summon back the Nephirim and off you go without even needing to use your normal summon. Nephirim being able to provide you with an additional normal summon also means that it's the better starter to have with your Armadillo, because you can use your additional normal summon for the Armadillo. Armadillo is a soft once per turn, which means you can use Armadillo as many times as you can normal summon it. So if you're able to get additional normal summon, you get to go again and again and constantly keep searching out your Gem Knight monsters. For probably the best Gem Knight monster for going second is free Gem Knight Quartz. So for those of you unfamiliar with how Quartz works, this one is if your opponent controls a monster, you get to discard it to then set a continuous fusion spell directly from the deck, but you can't spread from the extra deck except Gem Knights for the rest of the turn. So the continuous spells you'll be able to send off the back of this or set off the back of this will be your Brilliant Fusion and your Scatter Fusion. Both of them let you technically fuse from the deck, which is really, really important when you're able to utilize stuff like your Quartz, your Nephirim, sometimes your Gem Armadillo, but also being able to utilize the back of your Gem Knight Hollow Core. Now, Hollow Core has the most important graveyard effect of all of them, because when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get to banish 3 gem cards from the grave, including this card, to negate that effect. Then all Gem Knight monsters you currently control gain 1,000 attack. How you get it to the graveyard, or the easiest way to get it to the graveyard, is you need to use this effect in the hand to reveal it and then send as cost a Gem Knight Fusion from the deck to the grave, and then straight away you've got your Hollow Core to special summon itself down. You'd link that off with either a Nephirim, Armadillo, or of course a Quartz to then get you into your link to Quartz, and that then just pushes your fusion plays even more. If you are facing this deck, some of the biggest weaknesses are D-Barrier, because they do just want to focus on going into fusion summons. Their link monsters aren't that strong. They're kind of pushing to go for an OTK, which is why sometimes I do like the idea of leaning back into the hand trap version of this deck, because it gives you that contingency as if you're not able to break a field, you're then still able to kind of push back with your hand interactions and then survive another turn. So with the Breaker version, you are really focusing on breaking the field, which you can do very successfully and then push for an OTK. But on those odd chances where your opponent either floodgates you or your opponent stops you or uses like 15 hand traps against you, that's when you need to be able to crack back in other ways. And that's where you might want to consider the non-engine space, which is a hefty amount, to be changed for hand traps instead. But I'll speak about that a little bit more when we get to it. Then the insane Gem Knight card, like this card's crazy good, is free Gem Knight Dispersion. So you get to activate one of the effects, but they're soft once per turn on each of the effects, or hard once per turn on each of the effects. So what I mean by that is you get to activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect once per turn. The first effect lets you fusion summon a Gem Knight, to be specific, fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from the hand or field. Up to 2 monsters from your deck and or extra deck can be used if they are non-rock gem monsters and you have Gem Knight Fusion in the graveyard. So another really annoying thing is if your opponent is able to banish the Gem Knight Fusion from the graveyard, it makes it a little bit more awkward to resolve the best effect to this card. The second effect is you just add a gem monster from the deck to the hand. So you get to be able to grab hold of a Armadillo, you get to grab hold of a Nephirim, a Quartz, a Hollow Core, whatever you need to, you'll get access to it. Your opponent does take half damage during the main phase this turn, which is absolutely fine because you should be pushing for the battle phase to do your full amount of damage. Moving on to the breakers. Now, this is where it kind of comes down to, you can play a balance of breakers and hand traps if you want to. You can play just all hand traps, you can play just all breakers, and kind of adapt it to what you see and what you feel is the better option for you. So I've gone with 3 Forbidden Droplet. I just feel that this is probably like, you don't want to be using Dark Rule no more because you need a battle phase. Like, you're pushing for an OTK. You don't want to like not do any damage to your opponent. That would just be crazy. But you're going to go with 3 Forbidden Droplet. Being able to chain some effects to dodge target effects could be quite useful, but also being able to negate the card effects of your opponent not being able to respond with certain types can be very, very useful. A card that Matt was using was Forbidden Chalice, and I quite like that as an option. I decided not to play Forbidden Chalice. I was on Sales Ban just because it gave me a little bit more, and the amount of times I was able to go, cool, go first, if they did get made to go first, cool, draw, unlock bird, go second, cool, draw, unlock bird, cool, go second, cool like a Murakumo, cool a Snatchy Yummy, cool a Herald of the Arc Light, like just calling all of these cards that your opponent would end their field with, and then straight away being able to go, yeah, cool, no, you can't use that card, or you need to negate it now, really did open you up for a little bit more flexibility. Then 3 Trill Tactics Thrust. This is probably the card that's the most iffy, and what I mean by that is, yes, it's great because it lets me get into all of this, but then it always relies on your opponent to play a card. So when I'm playing this deck, there was a couple of times where my opponent would like not activate any monster effect, and I'm sitting there with a Thrust going, activate something, and they don't, and you don't go anywhere. So it's one of the ones where I could see myself probably playing a hand trap in its space, but I wouldn't know which one would be the most effective to do so. I am playing 2 hand traps in the main deck that I'll show you a little bit later on, just for those options, but these hand traps are ones that are technical floodgate style hand traps that stop your opponent doing pretty much anything. For the breaker, or continued the breakers, 3 Lightning Storm. I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit more as well for the normal generic breakers of the 1 Duster and the 1 Raigeki, pretty much serving the same purpose. There is a card in my side deck, like Dark Hole, that combos off with Dark Hole, which kind of made me want to consider playing a Dark Hole instead of Raigeki, but that's kind of like an optional choice. 3 Sales Ban, I've already mentioned how good I like this one, and the fact of the matter is this is in the most recent OTS as a common, so if you haven't got Sales Ban, you've got no excuse not to have them now. Like, get these as a common. I would stack up on as many playsets as you feel comfortable with, because I think it's just a really good card. Then the last kind of target off of Thrust is Trill Tactic Talent. To me, it's one of them, like, win more power cards. And what I mean by that is, if you see it in your opening hand, great success. It's kind of like Call by the Grave. You see it in your opening hand and your opponent has the hand trap and you're like, they've just got it. It just is what it is. But it's one of the ones that if I was to take out Trill Tactics Thrust, or side out the Thrust and side out the Talent and the Call by, I could arguably see myself putting in like 3 Ash Blossoms and then 2 Forbidden Chalices. For the hand traps of choice, 3 Draw Unlock Bird and 3 Mulchummy Purulia. Fuelos. The idea behind this one is you want to go second, so the issue of Fuelos is not that big of an issue at all. You drop this on your opponent, they're going to either give you loads of draw capability or they're just going to end on a much weaker field. And then the same with Draw Unlock Bird is you can either Draw Unlock Bird back your opponent if they Fuelos you, or you can just Draw Unlock Bird your opponent, which right now some people are like, oh, Droll's like barely in the side deck, or Droll is only going to be in the side deck, and you can kind of catch your opponent off guard by doing that. The last 2 cards I decided to main deck just on those odd scenarios when my opponent goes, you're going first, is of course the very degenerate Nemesis Flag and Arch Nemesis Protoss loop. Now, what the deck can also play the Fossil Dino Lock. I personally am not the biggest fan of that one. I think this is a little bit more consistent to get to. It doesn't rely on you saving your normal summon, and the way you can get to it is you just get 2 level 4s, so Quartz and Nephilim, or Armadillo and Nephilim as your additional normal summon. Go into Banshee, Banshee searches out Flag, Flag then put back one of your banished cards, which you do when you're using Holocaust, because you put Gem Knight Fusion in the graveyard. Gem Knight Fusion lets you banish a Gem Knight monster and adds the fusion back to the hand, and you're able to kind of recycle your resources that way. And you just go Protoss, Cool Dark, Cool Light, and you're pretty much shutting down Yummies, Mitsurugis, you name it, you're covering all bases. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now to show you the extra deck, and then I'll show you the side deck that I've got put together for it, but the side deck will be adaptive to the environment you'll go into. So for the extra deck, we'll start off with the Gem Knights themselves. Your Mac Daddy, Boss Monster, your OTK Enabler, your game Ender in Gem Knight Master Diamond. Now the reason this card gets so good is because you can use your brand new Gem Knight Master Diamond Dispersion to tribute it off as a quick effect to summon you out 3 Gem Knight monsters. Now the more common ones you'll go for will be Ruby, this one has piercing battle damage, Topaz, and Aquamarine. When Aquamarine is sent from the field to the grave, you target a card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. The Topaz is the one you want in the graveyard because it will get copied by the Master Diamond. So this card can attack twice during each battle phase, and when it destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the grave, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster. So the idea is you fuse this off with the Aquamarine, you return one of your opponent's cards to the hand, use Master Diamond to banish and copy the Topaz, meaning that Master Diamond can attack twice and burn twice. The other card you can summon off of the Dispersion will be your Gem Knight Prismora. This is purely in here, is rather than playing Ruby, you would go into the Prismora. So that gives you the ability to discard a card to destroy a card. You've got a way to return a card, and then you've got the double attack. Your other facility Gem Knights is you've got your one Gem Knight Seraphonite, provide you with an additional normal summon. And then you've got your Lady Rose Diamond, which is a your turn detonator, and then during your opponent's turn, the first time each Gem Knight would be destroyed by by card effect, it's not destroyed. So it gives you a little bit of a wall if they're trying to break you back. And then the last one is the Gem Knight Lady Brilliant Diamond, which allows you to kind of cheese out any of your other Gem Knights by sending another Gem Knight monster from the field to the grave. Then for the Link monsters, 2 Gem Knight Quartz. This card's like insane. So if it's Link summons, you add a Gem Knight card from the deck to the hand. Then you can also pay 1,000 life points to fusion summon a Gem Fusion monster from the extra deck by shuffling materials in your possession listed on it into the deck that are banished or in the graveyard. But it can't attack directly this turn, which is absolutely fine because you can use that card to attack your opponent's monsters and go on from there. Then I've got Donna Dagger Furhire. One of the mistakes I haven't got with this list is that I didn't put SP Little Knight in here. There's a couple of times where I've played it, I'm like, oh, SP Little Knight would be really good here. The reason for Donna Dagger Furhire is to out your opponent's Bagooska if they Bagooska lock you, because then you go into Donna and then Donna just goes, cool, tribute off and off you go. Whereas if you're trying to go down the SP Little Knight route, you need an extra deck monster already. So you would need to go normal summon a monster, turn it into something like an Almirage, then get another monster, normal summon down and go from there, which gets very, very specific to do something like that. One, Dogard, the Stone Trooper. This is just kind of one of these little nice ones that lets you protect certain aspects. And what I mean by that is, if it is special summoned, you get to target a rock monster in your grave, and this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack. During your opponent's main phase, you get a quick effect to target one other face-up monster on the field with attack less than or equal to this card, and it loses attack equal to that monster's attack. And if it does, you destroy that monster. So it's one of the ones where you weaken this to destroy one of your opponent's monsters, which can be a very nice trade-off. Then the last two, already mentioned the Infernal Flame Banshee to get you into your Protoss route, but then also one of the number 41 Bagooska, because again, there'll be times where your opponent's drolled you, or they've fooloshed you, or they've stopped you in one way or another, presenting the best field you want to. So you'd go into Bagooska, and it's just another option for going first if you can't get access to your Protoss a lot because you can't get the different attributes into the graveyard. So that's it for the entire main deck and the extra deck. Now to show you the demo side deck. So, for the side deck of this one, I've gone with 3 Retaliating Sea. This is purely because the events I go to, I expect a lot more Dracotal than I do Yummies, but I have got Yummies covered as well. I've been trialing out 3 DD Crow. The first time I ran this, it didn't put in as much work as I was highly expecting it to do. It was kind of like a little bit underwhelming, but the matchups I ended up facing with this deck were really, really rogue. Like, I faced Mitsurugis, I faced Yummies, I faced Malice, and I faced Yummy Yubel. So it's like really weird kind of lineup of matches, and DD Crow never really showed up at the times I might have wanted it. 2 Nibiru, completely optional on that one. 3 Book of Eclipse to directly deal with Yummy. 1 Dark Hole. So this is the option that I was like, well, I can thrust Dark Hole to get rid of my own Retaliating Sea because I don't want my stuff to be banished consistently. It's also a level 4, so I can just go normal summon, go into Infernal Flame Banshee, and I'm not worried about the lock. So it kind of gives me that ability to slow my opponent's Dracotals down and then keep them on a bit of a check until I'm ready to fully check them. And then the final cards are 2 Dimension Barrier and 1 Black Goat Laughs. Dimension Barrier is just one of these cards, this format, that's just so incredibly powerful. If you can get access to it, if you can resolve it against the right particular decks, it will end their turn. So if you're able to do this against Mitsurugi and you call the Rituals, they can't successfully get the Murakumo into rotation as much as they would like to. If you do it against Gem Knights, for example, call Fusion, that's it, they're not doing anything. You can slow down Dracotal by calling Fusion on them, but really what you've got here is you've got everything apart from Yummy, and then Yummy. So you're trying to cover as many bases as you can with this, but it really does come down to environment and preference and whatever else you want to use. I know you can use Ash Blossom in the side deck. I went with the gamble of I'm not going to use Ash Blossom. Whether that backfired or not, I don't really know. Like, there's some scenarios like, oh, I wish this was an Ash Blossom. But then there's scenarios where I'm like, yeah, but would I have actually seen the Ash Blossom? So that's pretty much it for the entire profile. I'm not sure which one I prefer yet. I kind of bounce back and forth between preferring to play Breaker Gem Knights and preferring to play just general Hand Trap Gem Knights. I think Hand Trap gives you a little bit more flexibility, but this one is an all-out go for it. This is one of the ones where it's like, okay, cool, I know what I want to do. I want an OTK. If I don't succeed in OTK, I'm good. We're going to move to the next game. You keep the pace moving, but it's one of the ones where you try to increase your success rate of the OTK where at all possible, and that's what you want to be focusing on. Anyway, that's it for the entire profile. I thought it'd be a nice little update to kind of keep Gem Knights a little bit modern and in the background, because it's one of these decks that if you don't like the idea of playing Yummy, you don't like the idea of playing Dracotals, you can, and you don't want to play a Canine variant, you can very easily play a Gem Knight variant and catch most of them off guard. As long as you learn the matchup well enough and know when to stop and what to interact, you'll be in a very good place. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.